And I was having a conversation with a friend one day, and she said, well, what if you won the lottery? What would you do then? And I said, what I would do is I would buy old houses and I would fix them up, and then I'd give them away to people. And she was like, okay, that's really cute, but what can you take from that idea to make money? So that's how we kind of came up with the handy woman and contracting. Yeah, my name is Teri Koski, and I'm the owner of Fix It Sister here in Spokane, Washington. Fix It Sister is a handy woman and general contracting service. It was scary. I had a bit of money in savings, but not a lot. I did have a history of 20 years in social work. I have a master's degree in public administration. So that's not exactly a bad backup plan. 99.9, I think the actual number is 90% of all contractors in the nation are men. And I really just wanted to create kind of an environment and a space where I would treat my customers like I wanted to be treated, where somebody would call me back, somebody would think my time was valuable, and then also not talk down to me like I was a complete idiot. Having the sister kind of angle in there is really just kind of an aim at all women that, we're all sisters in this community that we live in. So let's kind of stick together and help each other and lift each other up. So this is Ruth. This is my only coworker at Fix It Sister. And she actually does a lot more work than I do, I think, on a daily basis. So when I started this, for the first few months, I was using my personal car to tote tools and supplies. And I have an SUV. It's newer. It runs great. But if you've ever tried shoving a deck full of lumber into an SUV, it just doesn't work well. I needed a van, and I did not have the money to buy a van. So I came to Snap, and I worked with the team there and secured a loan so that I could buy Ruth here. Since then, I ripped the seats out, converted it over, put toolboxes in it. So now I'm able to haul everything I need in one trip. It works great. Yesterday, even I had a customer who had some damage from our recent windstorm, and I had everything on the van. I needed to fix it right then and there. And 2 hours later, he had a fixed fence and I had left. I did secure a loan to get the van. And then also I had to create financial spreadsheets in order to qualify for the loan for the van, which I had never done a financial spreadsheet for my own business, let alone anything else in my entire life. So I got a lot of help preparing that before the fact and then after, actually. I always tell people, just reach out and ask. I mean, no matter if it's help with something that Snap can provide, you never know until you ask. I remember going to the grocery store where my dad worked, and my dad was a produce manager. And I remember him, my mom and I would stand to the side and wait for him to finish with a customer to say hi to daddy. He'd be cutting up a pineapple to make sure it was ripe for a customer. He'd be helping someone, thump on a melon to make sure it was ripe. So one of the principles of my business is really providing that level of customer service and that level of interaction that I remember having when I was a kid, because that's the very base of how we form a community. As I was doing this job for this one customer, I was asking her, to what level do you want me to restore this trim? And she said, she goes, I want you to leave the love. And I really thought that was just an amazing statement, because if we think about the damage that we do to things, right? There's a hole in the wall from a child's ball. There's a nick on the trim from where, the baby carriage came through the doorway and caught it on the way in. There's, dent marks in the wood from, a cane that walked across it for 20 years. There's just all of these things that when we talk about what we love in old houses, we love the damage is really what we're talking about. We are not perfect. Houses aren't perfect. Nothing in the world is perfect. So, why are we trying to make it all perfect when nothing was meant to be that way? The general kind of guide of how I do my life is I want to do things that are making me happy. And this actually makes me happy. I am so much happier working on someone's door or fiddling with a window. This seems to be a world where I fit. And what I'm interested in makes sense. And I am happy with what I'm doing. And I come home, tired, but excited about doing the same thing the next day, every day that I come home. And that's been going on for 3 years now. So when I can't say that I'm happy anymore, I'll switch and do something else, but that's not for right now.